you ready to be unleashed and unstoppable?
You're successful and stuck. Where are you burned out and standing in your own way? Are you ready to make your finances and your whole life work?
Are you ready to experience a breakthrough and step into your next level of leadership?
Living a life of power, purpose, and possibility on your own terms, unapologetically.
You are where you are because of the way that you think. You are the creator of your reality. You are the creator of your thoughts.
This podcast is about discovering how to play big, how to be unleashed and unstoppable.
Through wiring in your success at the source as you step into your full potential as a wildly ambitious leader.
We are Alex Leanne Carter, founder and CEO of Ambition Unleashed, and Carol Register, founder and CEO of Success Uniquely Yours.
Let's get unleashed and unstoppable.
Hello, hello, hello. Alex Leanne and I are so excited to be here with you today and to bring to you some information about your money mindset mastery.
Because who doesn't love wanting to learn more about money, right? And money mastery. So
yeah, becoming unleashed and unstoppable, right?
Oh, yes.
And yeah, we are so excited about being able to bring to you tools that are going to change your life. So one of the things that we want to talk to you about first is a simple paradigm shift in regard to your money. And we even go deeper in our programs about the differences between money and wealth. But in regard to money, one of the things you can do is rather than think of working for money, we grow up thinking we have to go get a job, we have to go work for money, we're short, we got to bring it in.
And this whole exchange of time and money, really looking at what working hard, we talked about this before, really working hard to create your success and this constant belief around how much time it requires you to work in order to create that wealth that you want to be creating, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that we can really turn that around and instead think of money as our tool. That's what money is. It's a tool. It's not the thing we want. It represents the things we want. And so taking that tool and putting it to work for us. What are your thoughts on that, Alex?
Well, I think, Carol, this is the one thing that I have learned a lot from you. And as you just said, they're really looking at money and having money work for you versus you always working for your money. And I think what hit me is when we look at becoming unleashed and unstoppable, when we talk about building your life and business guilt-free, unapologetically, we've mentioned a little bit about this in some of our previous podcast episodes, is getting really clear on what you want, right? It's a lot of times, I see this with my clients, I think you do too, is chasing money or chasing success and chasing what wealth and money can give you and create for you versus really getting clear on what it is that you want to create. And what does it mean to you? And what do you want your life to look like? And really looking at that wealth plan and how you get to build out, your business, your time, your life to create that. And I think I just wanted to touch on that for all our listeners today, that, and I think we talked about this in the last episode, you're either building out your vision or you're building out somebody else's vision. And it's the same goes with money, right? And your wealth is what does that look like to you? Are you looking at purchasing a bigger house or a nicer car or going on a bigger vacation because that's what you really want? Or that's what you feel everybody else wants of you or expects of you? So I think it's just
such a great point. I love that. Yeah.
Important to get clear. I know we talk about this a lot, getting clarity on that. So I'm going to pass back over to Carol because she's definitely I would call the wealth master here, but I know has really supported me in really shifting, especially when we look at productivity on how our time is used and how we can have that shift on how we look at creating that wealth and what is possible when we are able to have these perspective shifts on how we look at that.
I love that. That clarity piece is really powerful and important you have to know what you want in order to be able to put things to work for you. And learning how to put money to work for you is using it really as the tool it is, where it's producing more and more and more for you. And there are many ways to do that. One of the things in becoming unleashed and unstoppable is that you can use this tool for you. And it doesn't matter how much you have. When you start to operate by principles that the wealthy operate by, then you really learn how to make decisions about your finances, your economic level, no matter what it is, where you are. And that ties directly into something that I know, Alex, you'll be speaking on in a really powerful way, and that is the Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule. This is an important principle of wealth because it's a principle that operates in nature. And basically, we're looking at it through the lens of how can 20% or less of your activities produce 80% or more of your results? What kind of money and what kind of income, finances, wealth would that produce for you? And Alex, because you are such an expert in the field of productivity and efficient and effective productivity, because money loves speed and attention, and business loves speed and attention, another principle I'm tapping into right there. What advice would you give us on being unleashed and unstoppable with our productivity in regard to the Pareto principle?
Well, first and foremost is becoming aware of where you're spending your time, where you're spending your time. And a lot of times, I'm going to use emails as a really great example. A lot of times you could find yourself spending a lot of time in email and notifications, but those are not necessarily the money maker tasks that are really going to be moving your business forward, are really going to be able to move your productivity forward. And so it's really taking a look at where your time is being spent, asking yourself, are you the best person to be able to be doing this task? And really looking at, are there any ways that you can systemize and really automate some of the work that you're doing? Or is it possible to go and get, Carol and I were talking before this call about virtual assistants. Are you able to get a virtual assistant that can support you in some of the things that are not necessarily in your zone of genius? And so that you can stay in your lane, your zone of genius, in your area of expertise, and do the things that you're going to be able to support in moving your business forward and have some support to do some things that really is not always the best use of your time. And, I know I've interviewed several different speakers on some of the virtual events that I've done. And there's tons of examples around, like there's house cleaning, there's someone getting your groceries, there is someone helping you with your emails.
Bookkeeping.
Yeah. And part of this thing is just to sort of ask yourself, and I know as a high achiever, it can be difficult really sometimes because you feel like you need to be doing everything, right? And what will it mean about you? And how will other people perceive you if you're not the one doing all of these things? And that's why it comes back to being clear on what's important to you and where do you want to be spending your time? And are there things and areas where you're spending your time that could be potentially outsourced or delegated to somebody else so that you can spend more of your time in that area that's really going to produce those results, especially if you're an entrepreneur or even in your business, in corporate as a CEO, really looking at where your time is spent. And like you said, Carol, money loves speed. So sometimes that requires you as the leader to make sometimes more quick decisions. So if you're bogged down with other things that are emails and other admin tasks, you get distracted for your focus to be able to be there to be able to make those quick decisions.
So Alex, thank you so much for that. And it's powerful about that productivity piece in order to be efficient and effective and really look at what we can do to produce results in the way that nature does through the Pareto principle, through the 80-20 rule. And my favorite coaches, James Wedmore, even says he wants 5% of his activities to produce 95% of his results. So it can be any ratio. And because money loves speed, it likes to move, it is energy. And that is another principle that I really go deep into. It's not meant to be sitting around, because if it is, it will waste away. And that ties directly into Parkinson's law, which is a law surrounding time, that you will use up whatever time you have available. Well, if you have money sitting in your checking account, there will always be a need for it. It will go. And that is not you putting money to work for you. You have to be very intentional about that, tying back to being clear about what you want and being able to make decisions about where it's going and how it's going to work for you. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, nor is Alex. I'm not a CPA, nor is Alex. Our job is to bring you principles, bring you information that we operate by so that you can start to operate in a way that will flow and be in alignment for you. And we really go deep into our programs to help you with that. And it's all about becoming truly unleashed and unstoppable. And Alex, if you'll permit me, that goes right into Pearson's Law. Pearson's Law came out of statistics. And the reason I like it is, well, just hear it out. Pearson's Law states what you measure improves, what you measure and report improves exponentially. Now, the first time I saw that, I went, get rid of that word budget, man. It's out the window. I like this. I want to measure and report, even to myself every day, checking in, just a brief period of time. What's going on? Where am I financially? Do I have 10 minutes in a day or 15 minutes to do that? Certainly. And when you realize that it's a principle and you're checking in, it's going to be really fun and exciting for you to watch your money grow exponentially. So yeah, these are some principles of wealth that we can really tie deeply into. What are your thoughts on budget, Alex?
Well, I love that. As soon as you said that, I was like, just finished reading the book, Tapping into Wealth, and it talks about budget can be more restrictive. And we think about our brain and we think about the power that words play in our productivity, in our ability to create wealth by shifting it to your wealth plan and shifting about getting intimate with your numbers and getting curious, making data-driven decisions, whether it's how you're spending your time or how you're spending your money can really support you in being able to increase your productivity and increase your wealth. So part of me was feeling like, yeah, having a budget is great because it gives you information, but budget can be very restrictive. And the idea here to become unstoppable and unleashed is really be able to be expansive. So building, I don't know, to me, building out a wealth plan sounds really exciting. And I know it gets the juices flowing in our brain, full of excitement and possibility versus thinking restrictive and need to follow these rules and all these things, which is less exciting, I think, to our brain and our productivity.
I love that. And I will share with you that Brandon and Natalie Dawson, who are partners with Grant Cardone. If you're not familiar with Grant Cardone, he is a billionaire living and operating primarily in real estate, but also in coaching in Florida. And they are his partners. And Brandon and Natalie are amazing in business. Now, they set a goal of being able to increase their productivity from, I think it was around 14 million in revenue to 35 million. They have 15-minute per day meetings with their staff, simply looking at the numbers, reporting. And guess what? They surpassed their goal. I think they went up to almost 40 million, pretty close to that, simply by that 15 minutes per day. So when we're talking about Pearson's Law, when we're talking about measuring and reporting, improving exponentially, don't underestimate the power of that. It's really exciting. And I think that wraps us up for today, doesn't it, Alex?
So, Carol, I'd love to know, and I always think like you're more the money mastery behind all of this is, what is that one action step you would encourage our audience to take today to really be able to get more intimate with their numbers and really be able to get to that next level with their wealth?
Well, I'm going to tie right back into what you stated in the beginning, which I thought was very powerful. And that is tying in with what we've already talked about. Know what you want, make a list of what you want, and start from there. And then you can really look at putting your money to work for you. There are some amazing advisors out there, and we can touch into that. There's some awesome resources and books. You mentioned Tapping into Wealth. I love Happy Money by Ken Honda. And operating by principles is a great way to do it. And then you can start to look and see, where am I being effective? What are 3 things a day I can put towards making my business grow? And reporting it to yourself, measure it and report it. So that merely means taking a look. Take a look. We often bury our heads in the sand. This is about what you can do. And we're going to tie that into some of our fears of failure and success as we go along. But it's really powerful to look at what you have, measure it, and watch it grow. So just start with what you want, being really clear on that as you look at ways to apply these principles. And I can't wait to take you deeper.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning into another episode. Remember to click the like and subscribe button. Follow both Carol and I on social medias. We will drop our links in the show notes below. And we'll see you all in our next podcast episode. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Unleashed and Unstoppable podcast with your hosts, Alexian Carter and Carol Register. Head on over to unleashedandunstoppablepodcast.com to register for our upcoming one-day live event, June 7th, Burnout to Breakthrough. High Achievers' Secrets to Transforming from Exhausted to Extraordinary. Well, that's all for this episode, Wildly Ambitious Leaders. See you next time.